So, okay, fair enough. What you play a lot of AOE2. What needs to still be improved in AOE2? Because this is one of the big things that the developer asked me. He didn't have anything to promote. All he wanted was people to go into the forums and give feedback as much as they could on things because I know there's still a bunch of issues with AOE2, like the units glitch out sometimes and they like skip a little bit, right? You play this game a lot, so I would imagine you have a wide knowledge of that.
I wouldn't say anything new. Right now, it's just these small things like pathing, the smoothness, villagers going transparent. I also believe there are too many Civs, but I don't think that's what they want to hear. They keep releasing the new ones, right? So
yeah,
because they're trying to please different audiences, and I think the new Civs is meant to please the casual audience.
You're not a fan of the Burgundians?
No, I'm not. There is going to be another one in summer. They just announced in this preview.
Oh, I missed that.
Another expansion with at least 2, potentially 3, right? How many there are usually? Civs. So yeah, they're catching different audiences. When I talk to my friends and community, I don't know anyone who is happy about new Civs. But
really?
Yeah, because why would you need more? There are so many. It's making things more complicated in terms of balance, and they don't really fulfill any. There is no purpose for this new Civs.
Right.
But when I was checking some video on YouTube, and then you see people commenting, and they are actually excited about the new Civs because those are people who just enjoy the game
casually.
And yeah, exactly, and they probably they look forward to it. So the audiences are different.
I never really I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I never really thought of it. So you would think the most, players around your level and higher are not happy about the amount of Civs because just the sheer amount of learning they have to do and, balance issues.
Yeah, not just learning. There are enough Civs to make this game competitive, and there is literally no point in making more. I really if you convince me, if they convince me, there is anything that adds another, that there is anything that adds anything to competitive scene.
Right.
Sorry, bad English.
No, you're good. I understand. I understand what you mean.
So, I don't see a point.
Fair enough. The other upside of this, which maybe you didn't give a much thought to, but a lot of esports games, like let's say Fortnite, let's say some of these giant games, what happens is they get so big to a certain point that they start having to please more and more casual. So the way they do that, because Fortnite at the start of the game was 90% like skill based, there was almost no randomness. Now there's a lot higher probability that a casual player can have chances. Obviously, the best players in the world will still be the best players in the world. There's always the cream of the pot, whatever you want to call the expression. The beauty, I think, of RTS games is that for the most part, there's no way to really randomize it. There's no easy way to appease the casuals like there are in certain games, because my community that I came from was FIFA. FIFA in the earlier days had very little like chances of elements of luck and, uncertainty. Now it's like rolling dice sometimes. So pro players absolutely hate it because they think, well, why am I spending 8 hours a day trying to learn a game of luck? It's like trying to get good at rolling dice. I think for RTS, you don't have that problem.
Yeah, and how about CSGO, by the way? It's also probably, it's not about rolling a dice. I just know more about shooters than about Fortnite or FIFA, so...
Yeah, CSGO is probably a good example because reaction time, skill, like aiming, there's no auto aim. I think in Call of Duty they have auto aim, but I don't know if they have that in tournaments and stuff. I don't know enough about that scene, but there are ways to kind of, let's say, tip the scale for the casual. Whereas in RTS games, I don't know where that is, because if you both start with the same civilization, you're on equal playing fields.
Yeah. No, there is nothing that can help you really, especially at the point where AOC now is, it's insane. People on very low levels on the ladder already have, like, you have to try hard to even be on the lower list levels. You have to, there are so many things to learn. That's why they say RTS is also the barrier of entry is really high, as compared to other genres. In most games, you can you probably still, the gap between you and pros is insane. But after playing for a couple months, you can be you know the game, and you can be an average. You can play on an average level and compete. AOC takes so much more time and effort than any RTS, I suppose.
Right.
And there is less randomness, obviously. Or how did you call it?
Random
kind of word you use?
Uncertainty, randomness.
Maybe randomness, uncertainty. Yeah, like luck won't help you in AOC.
This kind of stuff ruined the FIFA community, in my opinion. So that's the perspective I'm kind of coming from. It really ruined. They tried so hard to make a competitive game, and once they created a competitive scene, these guys that actually are good at the game got really good, and they just started crushing everyone. And then the worst thing about FIFA, which this is a therapy session for me, I guess, is that it's a pay-to-win game. So you can actually create a better team by putting more money into it. So on top of that, it's the worst. And when AOE 4 was first announced, one of the first announcements that I was really happy about was they're saying like no microtransactions, no pay to win, no nonsense. And that to me, I was like, oh, thank God, because modern day games are like, I hate that.